participate this evening. Appreciate everybody being here, and we're gonna ask Johnny if he will lead us in a word of prayer before we start.
How about it, please? Father Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you, God, for the opportunity we have to serve this great community of ours. And Father, I just pray for discernment, Lord, as we deliberate the business of our city tonight. Father, we just pray for each family that's represented here. And just thank you for my fellow board members and the mayor and who serve in these positions, Father. And I just pray you'll give us wisdom to make the right decisions. Father, we just pray that you just forgive us for what we've taken in so many ways. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Johnny. Okay, first on the agenda is a public hearing. The rezone 1104 West Bankhead from C2 to R2. Anybody here concerning 1104 West Bankhead? Yes, sir. You want this take over here?
Yeah, they, we published that in the paper and put the signs up to rezone it from C2 to R2. He'd like to build a house there.
Years ago was the one there?
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
there's ever been anything there.
1104.
Yeah.
Well, we done everything we're supposed to do.
Yes.
Okay. He may have silly or something. Got a motion by Johnny to rezone it. I have a second. Second by Amy. Any other questions or discussion?
One question, did, zoning board vote on it?
Yes, they did.
They voted to recommend it?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
That was easy enough, they did a holiday.
All right, we got personal appearance by Joe Marshall Davis.
Nothing too major, the world's not ending or anything. I had, when I took over as city prosecutor, the question was asked how I would handle appeals. I said, let me get my feet under me a little bit and to know what we're looking at. We've gotten, over the last, I think, 2 years now, I've had 4 appeal dates. We've gotten it from, I think when I started, I had about 350 or so, and we got it down to about 40. And so we're down to the last 2 or 3 years of appeals. As y'all well know, anybody that has a city court conviction can appeal that conviction. The main reason that we want to go ahead and get those appeals taken care of are for 2 reasons. One, for justice, and to take care, make sure that people that are convicted are not just playing the system. And also because obviously that's money sitting there that could be coming to the coffers of the city. Normally when I do an appeals date, we'll collect anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 in fees for that appeal date. Of course, nowadays you have non-adjudications, which make things a lot easier in city court and any or justice court, and you don't have as many appeals as you once did. But so we're running anywhere from 40 or 50 appeals a year that go on the books. We want to try to take at least that many off. I have not charged the last 2 years because I wanted to get it cleaned up and know what we were looking at. My recommendation is we do 2 appeals dates a year. That's in circuit court, one in spring, one in the fall. Y'all have paid several different things in the past, depending on the situations. My recommendation is one of 3 things. Is either pay $2,500 per appeal date. We have to mail out, we have to get things ready, and then we obviously have to be there for that court date. When I say we, me and Lindsay, my secretary, who runs our office, or runs my life anyway. Or if y'all had rather pay another $4,000 on my salary, and the reason I recognize there's retirement and taxes, so I'm willing to take some of that. So if you'd rather do that, or the county pays a office expense to cover, it helps cover the appeal, $400 a month. So I don't really care which one of those 3 ways y'all would like to do it, or if y'all tell me don't do appeals and just let them sit there, that's fine too. But if you want me to do it, I'll be glad to do it under any one of those 3 scenarios, and I'll answer any questions that y'all might have.
I think we've got to have somebody doing appeals because that's getting to be the oldest trick in the book.
It is.
You know, if you get found guilty, you just appeal it to circuit court and it sits there forever. So, What do you, I mean, you don't prefer one over the other?
I don't, I'll leave that totally in y'all's hands. I try to be fair.
I think the best deal for us is 4,000 a year, looks like. What do y'all think? That's 2,500 per field would be, if you do it twice a year, that's fine.
That's what we are gonna do twice, and then 400 a month, 48, so.
So then 4,000 adds to your salary, and then that,
It covers appeals, right?
That's correct.
and then, okay, and then what's the current salary?
Oh, gosh, I didn't think, 20,300, I believe, something along those lines. I'm sorry, I should have, I didn't.
No,
think
and
that
I should
separate.
know, I mean, I don't have budget from
We got you know my salary.
you.
But
Okay.
right around 20,000.
Do you need apples and right, Joe?
I do not, no, y'all, I'm presenting it, and if y'all got questions, y'all can always holler at me, you know that.
Okay.
Any questions about city court, I'll always brag on our law enforcement. I deal with a lot of cities, and we're lucky. We're very blessed to have a force that handles folks. And the way I know that is how many complaints I get when I go to court, and I don't have any right now, and that's not always been the case. So, the police force is doing a good job. I
All right,
think,
thanks.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, Bob Barber.
Yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Mayor and Board, thank you. I don't have any business for you to consider. I just wanted to stop by and say hello and pay you a courtesy call because I've not met with you in an official setting. And I thought it was very appropriate for me to do so because we are kicking off and have kicked off the planning project, New Albany Next. We met with the steering committee that you've appointed last week, and we had a really excellent meeting, and we're about to press ahead and proceed with the scope of services that we presented to the board some time back and you approved. I just make a couple of comments. I know you're busy and want to move on. The process is begins, it's essentially 4 steps. It begins in a discovery process where we're studying the community. That's what we're doing now. We're beginning a dialogue with the steering, we call them advisory group. And that's a discovery piece. There's a second step which involves a direction piece where we're gathering direction and trying to understand where New Albany wants to move, go, and be 20 years from now, because it's going to be somewhere in 20 years. That's our planning time horizon. So we want to understand that, how the leadership is directing, moving the community, how the community itself sees itself going forward in the years ahead. The third step, and by the way, that direction step will be very intensively engaging the city of New Albany in a variety of ways to be recommended by your advisory group, and we'll advise you when those plans are firmed up. The third step is actual drafting of plans for the community on paper and in narrative form. We'll do that, present it back, and see if we've captured the future direction of New Albany. And then finally is a critical step of implementation. Really, a lot of what drove, I think, you to approve a project is you're operating with codes, which is an implementation tool of a plan and a vision. You're operating with codes that are in the 80s, early 80s, I believe, if I'm right. They're out of date, they're antiquated. And the reason it's so important in a place like New Albany, you're going to hear me say this quite a lot, and you already know it, and we work in a lot of places. New Albany is a very vibrant community, and to capture the potential that we perceive as outsiders driving in and see the things that are going on in the community, you just won't, I can just almost assure you, you won't build a 2040 community with a 1980s model coding and implementation. So, but please understand, to get to the tail end of creating a code that serves the city well, we must go through the process. And it takes a little time, it's gonna take us about 12 months or so, assuming everything rolls along well. So, all that said, I'm just introducing myself. I wanna make sure, Mayor, that you understand I'm completely available. I have a cell phone. I won't make it public, but you can get me easily, through Billie Jean or otherwise. If there are cares, concerns, questions, please call. And so that's my only purpose, to introduce myself. I'll say this, and I should have said it first. Our group, just to introduce, I'm Bob Barber. I'm based in Hernando. My group, you'll be seeing folks coming in from St. Simons, Georgia, Huntsville, Alabama, Missoula, Montana. I don't think we'll have our partner from Wyoming in, and I don't think we'll have our partner from Boulder, Colorado in, but potentially. We're spread out. We do plans all over the place. Right now, we've got projects from Hawaii to North Carolina. And I just want you to know, we're excited about being in New Albany. It's just not another project. We're really, really excited about being here. So, Billie Jean's watching over us, so make sure that we stay in line. And I'm sure you'll be doing the same, if that's all I have.
Do you ever volunteer the other way and work?
Yeah. Thankfully, they're paid.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay, Bill Wright's not here, is he? All right, we'll move on to departmental business, live gas and water. Bill?
Mayor Gore. Just got a couple things, three of them are listed here. These all involve paying for the gas construction project up in Marshall County. The first two are pay requests to our, one U-Bank, our contractor up there that Cook Hoggins done the engineering work. The U-Bank request is $372,457.49. And for Cook Hoggins, it's $34,070.40. These are all, within the budget and within the contracts that have all been reviewed and approved. The third one, the request for cash, that's where we got a grant on the project. And this is where we're asking Three Rivers to send us money back. So the first two, that's money we're sending out, and the third one is money we're getting back.
Can we do all three of these together, Rick, and we need to separate?
All the minutes are clear.
Okay. Y'all understand all three of them? All right, I need a motion approved. Got a motion by Johnny, to have a second. Second by Kevin. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
The other thing I have, Mayor, we have an employee who is retiring, Rick Robertson at dispatch, and we need to hire you or somebody to take his place.
Okay.
Recommending Kevin Cooper. He's worked part-time with us for a couple of years, and I think he worked full-time in the county before. He's experienced dispatcher, and that's who I recommend to replace Rick.
All right. Motion by Will, second by Key. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, community development.
Sent you my report earlier. There's just one topic that I'd like to bring before you, and that is to ask for approval to move forward with certification of a certified local government. And my request is based on the fact that monies are out there, that we're leaving on the table by not having this designation. We did meet with Michelle Jones, who's with Archives and History, and the mayor, and she went over it with us. She just says it's a no-brainer, but I'm gonna have to have your approval to move forward with it.
And I did tell her some of the concerns in the past when people thought they could tell them what color paint the building, but she said that absolutely is not true. If they want to do a period correct building, they have a color chart that they can choose from, but they don't have to use it.
Can I ask a question about the area? At one time, we designated like the C1 and then Carter down to Barnes Crossing. Is that still the area that we're talking about?
She said yes, but it could even go even further. Any historic property that we want to save or, that's got historical value to it, we could do the survey and the research and put that as well.
So it would help us protect our, like at the
History and our
police
heritage
station
and
and
everything.
like the building and that building we just had to tear down,
Yeah.
tear down. 'cause
Well, like the old, groceries,
Yeah.
wholesale groceries,
Yeah.
have been perfect,
Yeah.
years ago.
Years ago, it was
Yeah.
way too far gone to do anything with it,
But we can preserve our buildings.
all our sister cities are CLGs, and I've checked around, asked about the, process of keeping it up and stuff, and Michelle told us that she's even decertified 2 or 3 cities.
Mhm.
Because they didn't do what they're supposed
They just weren't doing anything or trying to do anything, so.
I got a motion by Johnny, to have a second by Amy. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
to.
Thank
Any
you.
opposed?
Thank
Motion
y'all.
carried. UCDA, Phil, you got anything?
Short. Continue to work on our Project Reach Create Foundation, developing information and a way to get that out to our career coaches. Had a groundbreaking for Kevin Charles Fine Upholstery Furniture. They have an expansion, almost double their size, $2.54 million investment, 30 new jobs, and very new future for the community. It's a wonderful thing. We're also assisting another local industry, looking for 30 new employees, working through some job training and job force monies and some on-the-job training funds to help them with that. We're also planning a 20-year celebration for the Magnolia Civic Center. It's hard to believe 20 years ago we stepped into that nightmare. And from that sow's ear, we made a silk purse. So we've got a lot of things going on there. We'll open the long celebration. It's going to take 6 months to do everything. With a recognition dinner honoring those who've been instrumental in the development of the facility and the use thereof. In late May, we're planning a reunion concert with participants of the Broadway productions, a children's theater camp scheduled for June. It's for children 1st through 6th grades. They're going to do all kinds of theatrical training and end up doing The Lion King for kids. So it'll be a fun time for them. It'll just be a week long. We'll have the Union County play in October. Another play that'll fall in the scheduling that's reminiscent of Steel Magnolias. It's called The Hallelujah Girls. It's based on the story of a lady and 5 of her friends and a couple of gentlemen, and she buys an old church and turns it into the Spotted Ladies' Day Spa. So it's hilarious. It'll be a lot of fun. Then we'll have a hee-haw production as well as the ballet, and close it out with a community presentation of selections from the Messiah. In cooperation with the Unclaimed Property Division of the State Treasurer's Office, we sponsored an event for Union County a few weeks ago. Came in on Wednesday afternoon, and we were here from 3 to 6 and returned almost $25,000 to citizens of the community that they didn't know they even had lying out there in some unknown account. We had 60 people who came in and 2 or 3 times that many who used internet and telephone to do that in the next few days. We still have meetings going on with A2H and MDOT concerning our desire for a Glenfield overpass to help with traffic flow out there. MDOT seems to think we have a good plan, and they advise that we speak to our state and federal legislation contingencies and see what we can do. Bad news I received this week was our engineering funding was once again robbed from the bond issue thanks to our, well, I'm not going to say our Attorney General or Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, or Speaker of the House, or somebody there picked on Union County and they took our funds out and gave funds to other people. It's disappointing.
Who was it?
Pardon me?
Name the name.
I can't name you a name. I can name you 2 or 3 people who had the opportunity to do
Okay,
that.
thanks.
You can too. The people who get their hands on that, Lieutenant Governor, Speaker of the House, it goes from there. I'd be glad for you to name their names. This is 3 years in a row we've been denied funding. 3 years in a row. And our projects are as good as outhouses on the lawn somewhere. One significant issue. We're trying to clean up our neighborhood up there off of Moss Hill, and have done a pretty good job of it. In recent months, we've managed to get rid of 2 preachers, 2 Baptist preachers. And now we got a chief of police moved in, so y'all
Y'all in trouble, man.
thank you. I know you wrote all that stuff down.
All right, NASA, trees on Bank, Keith, you taking that?
I'm sorry, what?
The NASA, the trees on Bank Hill?
Yeah, well, what I wanna do, have we found out anything on the,
It was 40,000.
Post office. Okay, well, what I want to do on that is, are we accepting that bid, or?
That'd be up to y'all. We
Man, I
gotta do
think
something to stop leaking.
that was the thing, that was the holdup, is we were gonna use some of those dollars for the post office. And I know we received an email with the bids, but I don't know. next
Ted
step.
Blue was low bid, wasn't it?
Yes,
And then Robert's building was the next bid.
yeah, McClure was 40,924, and, Roberts Builders, the one that's doing the, Welcome Center, is 48,500.
So
That's just for external repairs, not
Exterior, right.
But
there's
once
a
we,
lot of external involved, wasn't it?
It's
More
a
and
whole
more.
lot, yeah.
But it's gonna fix everything.
so I have a question, so once we're CLG status, would be able to get funding for the Main
Maybe they have to
Street?
apply for it,
Right,
but I don't know when all this.
but yeah,
is
can we
taken.
make it that long, I
Yeah.
guess, cause that building needs it now, we can't make it.
It shouldn't have been, it should have been about 5 years ago.
Okay, okay,
That's right.
Well, it's created more damage because we
Yeah.
waited so long.
okay, got
You
it,
know, that's,
we just gotta fix it.
yeah,
So, we would need to move to do the low bid,
yeah.
okay,
Riverdale, same thing.
second,
Any other question, discussion on that? All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
All right, and then what I'm proposing is the bankhead from the church to 15 on both sides of the road. I wanna clean up the trees that are there, and when I say the trees that are there, obviously I'm not talking about the big trees, I'm talking about the crabapple trees and all of that, and make a unified with, crepe myrtles where the flags, now the flags that are there now, there's more flags than there will be trees. They're gonna separate them more, it's more, and they've been moved off the road. So I'm proposing that the remaining money from that grant be used, well, it may not take the remaining, I don't know how much is left. But I wanna use dollars from that to put trees on Bankhead.
About 58.
I don't know
I
for
thought,
sure.
I thought it was 54. That'll leave 14,000.
Originally, I thought it
Janice
was
will let
54.
know, we're gonna talk about that.
It may be 58.
That's what, the last time I heard, that's what it was. But I make the motion that we
Yeah, been $10,000.
use those dollars to
We got
do that work.
His bid for
Okay.
so it leaves us with about
14.
14, okay. All
You
right,
making a motion? Keith?
Yes.
second.
Second by Amy. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Alderman, is that part of Bankhead along with the cemetery there?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Police department.
Very brief, Mr. Mayor. I want to ask for approval to purchase a F-150 on state contract to replace a 2005 Tahoe we had some problems with, out of the drug task force fund, in the amount of $28,792.
I got a motion by Keith, do I have a second?
All right, well, I have a question. Okay, so is this vehicle, what's it gonna be used for? I mean, is it just a
Replacing
regular?
one that's in the narcotics.
And you're using the money from that to
Yes.
buy that? Okay, yeah, all right, I'll second.
Second by Amy, any other question or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Oh, okay, next is fire department.
Got a couple of requests for the equipment that we talked about last month. I sent you an email on the quotes that we got. I'll address the SCBA's first. To replace the old 4 Scots that we're gonna take out of service with the 4 MSAs. It matches what we got on the federal grant. That quote was $28,718.76. They are state contract pricing on those, so I only got one quote on that. We wanna buy this out of fire protection. So I'll ask approval to purchase those 4 SCBA's at that price.
I got a motion by Amy, to have a second. Second by Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second quote was on the backup rescue tool equipment that we wanted to, purchase to replace our outdated set that stays here at Station 1 as backup. Those quotes were for some battery operated on micros and some accessories. That's the same style and brand of tool that we currently run. They are not on contract, but I got 2 different quotes. That low bid on that one was $28,786.06.
That'll be out of fire protection.
Yes.
All right, well, Kevin Dale got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have at that point.
All right.
You need some more copies of these, or did you run them off?
Building inspector, Eric.
I emailed the monthly report. We had a zoning meeting, request from, Mr. Bill Smallwood at 116 Highland to convert the right side of the building into an apartment. The zoning board voted to refer the matter to the Board of Alderman on the May 7th meeting. So we need to put him down as
What's he gonna put in the left side?
a, office.
Is that empty building right by
The old.
the
Yeah,
mortgage thing?
Funeral home.
You on the public
Right by the
hearing?
mortgage, so yeah, mortgage is right here, it's that empty building. There's apartments down on the right.
All right, we got a motion by Johnny to set the public hearing May 7th. Do I have a second? Second by Keith. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
I also would like to set a public hearing for May the 7th meeting for a mobile home at 127 Short Summer to condemn the structure.
I got a motion by Amy, to have a second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Eric, I have a quick question on the Smallwood. Did they make did zoning board make a recommendation, or they just
Referred it, yeah.
referred it to us? Okay.
Yeah. And I'll get y'all more information on that.
All right, let's move to general city business. Item A is approval or correction of claims dockets for March of 2019. Motion by Kevin Dale, second by Amy. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Item B and C, I have no.
No, you didn't ask for the code.
Oh, claims docket. Item B and C, no update. Item D is approved fair housing proclamation. What is it?
It's just
Something we have to do each year to say they're offering fair housing out there.
she likes it, she let me know.
It's a CDBG grant. You have to do it to get the gas extension project grant money. In April must be proclaimed Fair Housing Month for the city. All right, got a motion by Johnny, have a second. Second by Amy to proclaim April as Fair Housing Month. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. So item E is autism awareness. Amy, you wanna fill us in on that?
Yeah, so today is World Autism Awareness Day, and last year on April 2nd, we declared it for the state, we had a proclamation for New Albany. It's our Autism Awareness Day, so have my shirt on. So, and we have a blue lights up on the trailhead, and then we will have for the whole month of April, and then the courthouse has blue lights as well, and then people are asked to just, it's Go Blue Mississippi, so just put your blue lights on and just, the statistics are 1 in 59 of autism, so everybody knows somebody with autism. So they've actually the statistics have recently changed where it's 1 in 38 boys. So it's rapidly, it increases every year. So we just stand behind it in New Albany. We support our families.
All right, I need a motion to accept that. Motion by Kevin Dale, second by Amy. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Okay, any opposed? Motion carries. Item F is reopen Shady Dale Park. Kevin Dale. Got a motion by Kevin Dale, have a second by Keith. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
I have a quick question for Kevin Dale though, or if you, any kind of, what are we doing different?
Well, we gotta do some repairs on the bathroom area down
Where they did the damage?
We're gonna ask that we paint the inside out. And then I find out from Johnny Evans that the roof has a leak in it, so we can repair the roof.
Okay. But we're reopening it with any conditions for people?
We want to force the police officer to do their job.
Okay.
Kevin, I wanted to say, in our focus group the other day with Bob O'Ryan, with the O'Ryan group, that was a hot topic, that particular park, about revitalizing it, doing something in that area, and connecting that park with all the other ones, so it's on the radar today.
Okay, item D is consider executive session for personnel reasons.